What's up everybody, Kinetic here and welcome back to The Division. I've got a new mini-series of sorts here talking about high-end armor pieces and how to roll, what to look for, and min-max your way into a more powerful build for your character. Now we know of course that the gear sets are coming up in patch 1.1, which are going to be very powerful in their own way, but we also have to remember that those are specialized gear sets to kind of drive players into fitting a certain kind of role and a certain kind of playstyle, whereas the high-end items, the high-end armor pieces, can be much more flexible in changing whatever skills that you want, changing whatever guns you want and things like that, without being a drag on the gear that you're wearing. The developers themselves even said that even though they're putting in gear sets into the Division, this does not mean at all that high-end armor pieces are going to suddenly be obsolete. So whether you're going to gank people in the Dark Zone or whether you're trying to conquer incursions, your normal high-end armor pieces are very viable even still. So in this video I want to start by talking about high-end masks, what kind of talents you want to look for, what kind of major and minor attributes are going to be the best that you can possibly get, and trying also to leave this still as a guide, not necessarily a must-follow formula, because I hate making videos like that. I think a lot of this is still going to be up to you. I'm simply trying to show you the ways that I think will benefit most players in the end. So let's get started. Here is a list of the possible talents, 5 in total, that we could get for a high-end mask. And out of the 5 that we have here, 2 of these, which is a nice ratio I suppose, are actually really good to have. And the other 3, I'm not necessarily saying are terrible talents, but these 2 talents, Tenacious and Rehabilitated, are, in my opinion, the best talents that you could possibly get for your mask. Now, in a very close second or third position, whatever, however you want to look at it, Rejuvenated also is a very powerful talent. But honestly, for me, when I'm going to make high-end masks, I'm either looking for Tenacious or I'm looking for Rehabilitated. Now currently Rehabilitated is bugged, but that's only for like another 24 hours or something like that as we wait for patch 1.1 when they will fix talents like this that are bugged. Currently Rehabilitated continues to heal you for 2% every second until it finally decides to turn off hours later when it's only supposed to be working while you're under a status effect. But even after they patch this, I still think that this is going to be a very powerful talent, because whether you're PvE or PvP, crowd control or status effects are a big deal. You've got lots of people now that are popping their incendiary bullets to set their enemies on fire in the Dark Zone. You've also got fire, of course, coming from the cleaners and grenades and just all sorts of things that can screw you over in PvE as well. So Rehabilitated, even after they fix the bug, is still going to be a great talent. And Tenacious is just a great game changer, or kind of second wind, I want to say, for your character. Not only are you healing up, but you're getting a near 10% increase to your damage for 10 seconds. You could really turn things around, I think, simply by consuming a med kit with this talent. Next up, we've got the major attributes. Now, for the masks, we can have one major attribute, which is tough because there's a lot of really cool looking major attributes here that are going to look very appetizing. But there can only be one, and for the one, I have to go with skill power. Now, you may be thinking, why skill power? I don't even use skills, right? I'm not using an electronics build or something like that. Well, skill power does more than increase the effectiveness of your skills. It also decreases your cooldown times, and whether you're high on electronics or whether you're just a firepower SMG build, skill power still matters to you, again because of things like your cooldowns. You're going to want to probably use your first aid at some point, or your pulse or whatever, and so by having our skill power on the mask, that's going to reduce our cooldowns and of course increase the effectiveness of our skills. To put it in another way, there's so much skill power here that can be rolled, it would be like wearing a 7th piece of armor for free that has a full power of electronic points built into it. But let's say you're still not convinced. I'm all about giving you guys extra options to consider, right? So if you're really not into skill power and you think that that's complete BS, then I would seriously recommend as a second option to look for exotic damage resilience. What is exotic damage resilience, or just EDR? Well, basically it's resilience or resistance to crowd control effects. Again, kind of like rehabilitated and status effects, exotic damage resilience, EDR, is going to minimize the effects of things like burning, shocking, bleeding, and things like that. And again, whether it's PvE or PvP, everybody's going to be a victim of these at some point or another. And considering how powerful many of these effects can be, it could mean the difference between life and death by having this EDR. Next up, we've got minor attributes, and even though they're called minor, I actually look at these as being quite valuable in their own way. A lot of these are resistances that we see in pretty much any other armor piece, right? Some of these are also not resistances, like for example, we've got bonus to scavenging and bonus to XP on kill, and this is really going to be kind of up to you. However, I would say that if you're unlucky, then you're going to end up rolling something like enemy armor damage, which is okay for PvE, right? We've got these elite enemies, we've got to chew through an extra bar before we can get to their health. Enemy armor damage is going to help us burn through that quickly, but in PvP, it's completely freaking pointless. You'd be much better off with some kind of resistance to, for example, burning. Lots of cleaners like to set people on fire. Resistance to burning is therefore great, right? Scavenging is cool. I would say that XP on kill is actually one of, if not my personal favorite, aside from maybe burn resistance, especially because it may not seem like a lot, but these little additions to XP on kill really help to rank you up fast when you're running around in the dark zone. And if you're playing the Division, you're probably running around again. At some point, you're going to be in the dark zone. And finally, at the bottom, we have bonus powers to our skills. This may be something like increased turret duration or bonus to pulse skin or whatever. Honestly, here's something that I want to also bring up while talking about these min-max guides, is what you should and what you shouldn't re-roll, or really what's just more important. Let's say that you go ahead and you roll a piece of armor and it's got the right talent. That's a great foundation, of course, for building up on to whatever other major, minor, and skill powers that this piece will have. So you got the right talent that you wanted, but you got both the wrong major attribute and you also got the wrong bonus power to your skills. Which do you recalibrate? You can only recalibrate one, so are you going to recalibrate the major attribute, or are you going to re-roll or recalibrate the bonus power to your skill? Honestly, in my opinion, especially for the cases when we're talking about a skill power major attribute, to me, I think that it's more valuable to make sure that you have the skill power major attribute than having the bonus power to whatever your favorite skill is for that armor piece. And the reason that I say that is because if you look at it, let's say you really love turrets, right? And you want to increase the duration or the health that turret can have or whatever once it's deployed. That is actually less effective than if you would have had the skill power built into your major attribute, because again, we are talking about skills, right? And so your skill power is going to increase both the effectiveness or the power of that skill and is also going to reduce the cooldowns. So would you rather have increased duration or increased health or whatever to your turret, or would you rather have shorter cooldowns on all of your cooldowns and have more powerful skills when you use your skills? To me, if we look at it like that, it makes much more sense to re-roll the major attribute to make sure that we have the skill power major attribute rather than re-rolling to have whatever favorite skill in the bonus to power skills section at the bottom. I mean, of course, the best situation would be to say, screw this piece and go ahead and just make a new mask, but not everybody has that opportunity, right? And sometimes we're just really close and we're not going to be that picky. We have to make a decision just that way we can move on with our lives. Which one do you pick? I say go ahead and recalibrate to getting skill power. But if you roll the right talent and you get the skill power, then pretty much the rest is easy breezy, because then you can recalibrate whatever skill or maybe even whatever minor attribute you want at that point. And that's going to wrap it up for this min-max guide to high-end masks here in the Division, coming up very soon, pretty much every day or every other day, something like that. I'm going to put out another one of these videos talking about a different armor piece and what talents and major and minor attributes you want to look for and stuff like that. If you have any comments, questions, or complaints about the recommendations that I've made for the mask, then let me know down in the comment section below. Click the like button if you enjoyed this video, and make sure you're subscribed. I got more videos like this and a whole lot other stuff coming up from the Division right here on my channel. Thanks again for watching. My name is Kinetic, and I'll see you next time.